Hey guys, what's up? This is Brian with another early morning installment of our little behind the scenes series. This morning I read two great notes on two great books, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy and The Rise of Superman by Stephen Kotler. And as I've mentioned before, I'm stepping back from creating the volume of Philosopher's Notes I was before. We're going to have a team help with optimized notes. And now I'm rereading a bunch of my notes and kind of blown away by these ideas. Just super inspired to do the Philosopher's Notes live. And I had a couple ideas I wanted to share right now, still very nascent. But one of the ideas from Entrepreneur Roller Coaster that I thought was just phenomenal. He says, in addition to getting super freaky, being willing to be obsessed and go all in on your goals, which we could talk about for a long time, he had this great idea on what are your big three year making goals? So what three goals, if you achieve them, would make this year just ridiculously awesome, right? So in Greatest Year Ever, we talked about it. We boiled it down to one. What was the one goal that would make your year unbelievably amazing? This is what we started last year with. So for me, I had a personal and a business one. We wanted to get to 10,000 members. And my wife and I, Alexander, wanted to conceive a baby that we would have the following year. We conceived our baby, and we got to $1 million revenue point, which is about 8,300, 8,400 now, 8,500 members. And then I shifted a bit so that the 10,000 was less important. We hit our milestone I wanted to hit. But that was a key part of Greatest Year Ever. But anyway, I'm reflecting on it now of, well, what three big goals, if I hit them, would make next year just absolutely extraordinary, right? So think about that. What three goals that if you hit them next year would be amazing? And if you wanted to distill it down into what's your number one? Like what's the goal that if you hit it would just make your year phenomenal? When I did this exercise this morning, the first thing that I came up with was becoming a world-class athlete, qualifying for the world championships in the Spartan race. In my race I'm going to do December of next year, right? I got to get top 20 in the competitive field in my age group to do that. That's awesome. That's a stretch goal for me. And frankly, that's my number one right now because it powers everything. Who do I need to be and what energy will I have if I hit that goal and when I hit that goal? So what is it for you? And then Darren says, okay, so you've got your number one goal or two or three by his model. Then each of those goals really only have one or two things that you need to do in order to make that goal a reality. It's actually not that complicated. You just need to figure out what one or two things, habits you're going to install on a daily basis that if you do them consistently every single day and you aggregate and compound that over time, you will have extraordinary benefits. It's not 100 things. There's one or two simple things that if you did them, you would have a very strong likelihood of hitting your big goal. For me, it's my sunrise hike. Getting out there, I've done this for, 2 or 3 months now, haven't missed a day, and it's just magic for me. And my thing with becoming, the best athlete I can become in the next 13 months is 12 plus months now, is my sunrise hike. And I'm going to constrain it to 90 minutes, including my 5-minute drive there and 5-minute drive back. What can I do in 90 minutes? Super efficient, and then stack things throughout the day where I'm hanging out with the family. I'm at the park with Emerson. Cool. I can bang out hanging or pull-ups or whatever. That's part of my training, right? But it's not taking me more time. So anyway, my number one is sunrise hike. Literally, if that's a sunrise trail run, just getting out there every morning. I started out with a little warm up. That's kind of a Spartan warm up, etc. I carry a heavy bucket on my little warm up for 5 minutes, then back down the hill. So I'm doing these very simple, basic, fundamental things. We'll talk more about when I get into the obstacle immunity 101 class, etc. But think about your number one. Think about your one or two big habits you need to do and go out and rock it. Now, that's a little micro class, right, that I'm throwing into the context of this. I just had the idea of doing one of those every single day for our members, figure out what I call it, Optimize 365 or whatever, right? And the other thing I want to share in this kind of behind the scenes was, as I read these notes, I'm getting so fired up about doing the PN Live. So I'm mapping out the calendar for Q1. Someone had a great comment asking, hey, can you show kind of the calendar of what's going to come up, right? So if we're doing Philosopher's Notes Live, like what's going to be discussed on January 3rd? Burpees coming soon. how about January 4th, 5th, 6th? So anyway, I'm mapping out Q1's calendar, so we'll actually know precisely which note. Is it the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster? Is it going to be the Rise of Superman? We're going to cover live with Q&A each of these days of the week. The plan remains Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday through Friday. Saturday, I teach a big class, live stream from our new place in Ojai, et cetera, et cetera. So fired up about it, kind of mapping out which classes I'm going to teach, when. Got a little break here when our little baby Eleanor is due around Lincoln's birthday. Subject to significant change / optimizing, but great to get the ball rolling. And I'm going to do a separate little micro class on something else that's been huge for me. I'll just do it right now. So one of my big distinctions I've made over the last couple weeks is cracks versus chasm. Cracks versus chasm. So Joseph Campbell says that when you get to a chasm, so here's you, right? And you're sitting here and you get to a chasm, right? And you really want to get to this spot, right? But there's this huge chasm between where you are and where you want to be. Joseph Campbell says when you get to that chasm, jump. It's not as wide as you think. Right? And I've always thought that was an awesome quote, but it was really over the last 2 weeks that, and I've experienced it, of course. All of us have moved toward our goals, right? Joseph Campbell also says that when you follow your bliss, when you're living your hero's journey, doors appear where only walls once existed, right? So when you start moving toward your dreams, all of a sudden these doors start appearing, right? You jump and you realize that the chasm isn't that wide. And what I experienced over the last couple weeks with two things for me, right? Spartan race and buying the church. So I had this vision that the Spartan race, I'm reasonably athletic. I'm a trainer, got certified as a trainer 15, 20 years ago, whatever it is. And I do my certain things every day, but my self-image has not been that of an athlete per se, right? I'm more of the guy that, whatever. It's just, that isn't my self-image. So when I got excited about the Spartan races and I was imagining what we would do, I had a lot of dialogue in my head of, I'm too busy. I don't want to do that, blah, 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 right? Read Joe DeSena's newest book, and it's Spartan Fit, and it inspires me and my right-hand guy to say, you know what, we're going in. And we booked 3 races for next year before I even did my first one. And then as I'm showing up to do the first one, I'm saying to myself, man, why did I do that? I'm too busy, and I really don't want to be having to do that, and blah, 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 which was really just a dialogue masking a certain level of fear. I didn't want to do it, mixed with laziness, etc. But I had committed to my right-hand guy, so I'm like, dude, I'm not pulling back. I'm doing this. Long story, a little shorter. I do my first race a couple weekends ago, and it was easy. And DeSena does this so people of all fitness levels can do it. But it was awesome. And we didn't race it to win it. We went at a mellow pace, but I did every single obstacle pretty easily, except for the javelin throw, which should have been my easiest one. And I missed it, so I had to bang out a few burpees. But it was just easy. And I realized I had this idea that there was a huge chasm between here and there where I wanted to be. And it was really a sidewalk crack. Like, there you go. I just need to take a step. It wasn't even a chasm. As Joseph Campbell says, jump. It's not as wide as you think. And for me, it was literally about as hard as walking over a sidewalk crack. All I had to do was change my belief and see that it was possible. And then the same thing happened with the church. I had this story that it was a huge chasm, that I'll do it in X years. Once we do this, and this, then I'll go out and we'll figure out our offline strategy. The opportunity came up. It felt like it was the right time to go for it. Went for it, sidewalk crack. Not hard. The moment I went for it, all of a sudden, all these doors started opening. So, back to you. What chasm are you making a bigger deal in your life than you need to? Can you see that it might be a sidewalk crack? And if you just leaned into it a little bit and took a little bit of risk, prudent, grounded, anti-fragile, right? Where you're simultaneously super aggressive and super conservative. We're not talking about being ungrounded, right? We always want to have a foundation as we pursue our dreams. I've done a lot of prep to make this easy and this easy, right? But I still had a story that it was a chasm. So check in on you and see if there's anything that you're ready to move on, that you just need to move on. That is chasm or cracks versus chasm. Again, fired up to create these types of micro classes, and hope you're enjoying this super rough look behind the scenes as I do my thing. Went to bed super early last night, 7 o'clock. Little tired. Big week. We met the church and the community last night, or yesterday, which was awesome. Got up super early this morning, about 3:30, and just hammering it. Hope you're doing great, and I look forward to sharing more soon. Have another awesome day. See ya.